right, here we go. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this Project Cities Community Partner Information session today. My name is Julia Colbert. I'm the Program Manager for Project Cities. I started in January and have dove right in, so I'm very excited to be already at the point of talking to potential new partners today. And I will have my other team members, Anne and Allison, introduce themselves very quickly. So Anne, do you want to just say a quick hello?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. It's great to see such a good group. And if I can be of assistance at any point, just let me know.
Thanks, Anna and Allison.
Hi, my name is Allison, and I'm one of the program assistants with Project Cities. So I help provide administrative support for Julia, and I'm really excited to get to know you all today.
Great, thank you. And then we'll dive right in. So what is ASU Project Cities, which is the question all of you are here today to answer. So I'll start out with the really big picture and then get into more of the details, and then next steps of how to be a community partner, what do projects look like, those types of things. So first, we are a program within the Sustainable Cities Network at ASU, which is part of the Julie Ann Wrigley Global Futures Laboratory. If you have been working with ASU or alongside ASU for years, you know that we love a good reorg. So we've had a lot of changes recently. We have this amazing new laboratory that's been developed, and we are now housed in the beautiful interdisciplinary Science and Technology Building 7 on the Tempe campus. So we work alongside the College of Global Futures, other sustainability scientists and scholars, but also this program really is interdisciplinary across the university. So though GFL is our kind of main affiliation, we do work across ASU. And we're also part of the EPIC Network, which stands for Educational Partnerships for Innovation in Communities. And I like to bring this up at kind of the beginning of talking about Project Cities, because though ASU is really innovative and comes up with really cool projects, we are part of a larger cohort of 35 other institutions that have similar institutional and community partnership models. This network was started in the kind of early to mid 2000s, and Project Cities followed in 2017. So we have a great network of other universities and program managers and directors across the world that are doing similar programs to this. So Project Cities itself, we started in about 2017. So we've been around for 5 years, and our mission is really to assist cities or communities with the advancement of their sustainability initiatives, connecting students, faculty, and academic courses to projects that are prioritized by our stakeholders. And our vision is to really engage students in innovative and practical solutions along with multiple communities to advance sustainability goals and students' career paths. So this is kind of those themes that are going to drive the rest of the presentation today. Our goals, we have a couple. So first, we really do focus on engaging ASU classes to provide value-add project-based learning experiences for students. So again, with that kind of focus on students and getting them out to the community, and then also bringing different types of inter and cross-disciplinary collaboration opportunities and solutions that are research-backed that have the expertise of faculty guiding them to help improve quality of life in cities, towns, and other community organizations, kind of depending on your affiliation. And then again, want to provide those students with real world experiences for working with sustainability in the workplace. And we really do have kind of a broad definition of sustainability. It can be done in many different ways through many different departments, organizations, agencies, everything from helping to edit an HR handbook to helping plan for the future of water management. Sustainability really has so many different definitions. So if you're not explicitly working in sustainability, no worries. We invite everybody to participate in this type of opportunity. So how our model works. So like I said, we are nested within the Sustainable Cities Network, which is led by our director, Anne Richmond. And this network was started in 2009 to really provide opportunities for cities, towns, tribal communities, and other organizations to engage in sustainability in new ways. I think it's really done a great job of bringing many different stakeholder groups together over the past 12 years. So it made a lot of sense for Project Cities to be nested within the network. So at the beginning of every kind of partnership cycle, we have a community partner, and their goal or their kind of tasks are really to first identify what challenges they're facing, whether it's a city, town, agency, or whatnot, help to plan projects, facilitate access to information for students, help to advise projects and have check-ins. And then we're really wanting to connect those challenges to all of the knowledge and innovation and research going on at ASU. And that's also kind of the heart of the program, is bridging that gap between the knowledge and action research going on in higher education to what communities are facing and what they need assistance with. So the faculty themselves, they help to guide what student team they're working with, help to oversee project implementation, and really make sure that whatever projects are happening tie back to what the students are learning. And my favorite part is that the students get to do these projects. Again, they're getting that hands-on knowledge and experience, learning different research and analysis skills, and developing recommendations through a semi-professional report that's delivered every semester to our partners. So my role within all of this, and my team's role, we do all of the administrative scaffolding that helps to make this type of project partnership work. If you've done work with ASU in the past or with other communities and whatnot, you know all of those agreements, MOUs, media release forms, liability, all of those different things, scheduling meetings take up a lot of time, and those things need to be done. But it can often be a barrier to entry for communities working, especially with large institutions like ASU. So I'm here to really help do all of that facilitation to make this, to really bridge that gap between our amazing community partners and the resources at the university. So my role, I do all of our logistics, contracts, liability, help with communication, marketing, promotion, resources, pretty much anything you can think of, my team handles for you. So we really try to lower that barrier to entry to help facilitate this type of partnership. So here's some impact numbers of Project Cities throughout the years. So again, we've been around since 2017, so it's 5 years now, and we'll update our 2022 numbers soon. So since we started, we have done 67 class projects with our 4 different community partners. We've engaged almost 1,000 ASU students. I think it'll be over 1,000 now. And so now all of those students that have had those experiences with Project Cities are now either graduated, working, perhaps are still in school, continuing their studies, but have all engaged with the community in this unique way in some way. We've worked with 40 different ASU faculty representing a wide variety of our different schools, colleges, and programs. So we really do focus on interdisciplinary collaboration. It's not just sustainability in the College of Global Futures or GFL, it's sustainability across the university. And here's some photos highlighting some of our different events we do. So our past community partners, to give you kind of a feel for where we've come from and where we are now, we started our program with a pilot with Apache Junction in fall of 2017. And then we partnered with them through spring of 2019. And then during that kind of partnership, we started our second partnership with the city of Glendale, which went for about a year. And here's a photo of our first kind of pilot class with students, and then one of the field trips they did in Glendale. And our current community partners are the town of Clarkdale, which we established that partnership in fall 2019, as well as the city of Peoria, which was established in also 2019. And these partnerships have been very interesting since we kind of have the best of both worlds of Arizona communities. The town of Clarkdale is a small mining community that was one of the state's, if not the first, master plan community. So they have a really interesting topography and landscape and different challenges that they're facing in the Verde Valley. Whereas Peoria is kind of here in the heart of the valley, right next to the city of Phoenix. They have a lot of different sustainability initiatives that they're working on, and they have more of that urban setting that's very interconnected with the other cities and towns within our Phoenix metro area. So it's been really meaningful to have both a rural and an urban partner over the past 3 years. And both of them are interested in continuing to work with us. So I think that's also always a good sign for that a program is successful. So I'll get into some of the kind of details now of how our partnership process usually works, because I think that's probably why all of you are here today. So typically a partnership is about 12 to 24 months. And in our cycle, I stole this diagram from our previous program manager. I tried to come up with my own to see if I could make it kind of look in my own Julia style, but I really did like this one since it illustrates kind of the cycle of everything. So here says you are here We, again, this kind of 12 to 24 to 36 month cycle, work with or establish new partners, have different partners come in and out just depending on sort of community needs. So this is kind of where we're at now, is we're looking to see who might be our partners for the next academic year. So again, typically year, 2 years, maybe 3 years, follows an academic calendar for the most part. And then after we've established a partner, we work through different types of agreements to make sure that the university and the partner are on the same page. So we might do an intergovernmental agreement, an interagency service agreement, an MOU, just depending on what makes the most sense. And this really helps both organizations get on the same page about what's expected, what makes the most sense, really kind of brings the teeth into it to make sure that we can have a successful partnership. And then at the beginning of this, we also talk about the financial contribution that makes the most sense for your organization. It does vary depending on the complexity of projects, type of student work, research required, those sorts of things. And kind of our ballpark figures, if you are interested in having kind of a full-fledged Project Cities partnership, which includes anywhere from 10 to 20 projects per year or more, depending on your capacity, along with all of the administrative support, event support, those types of things. That starts at about $25,000 per semester. And then if you're interested in more of an individual project, maybe working with a class or two on sort of a smaller scale, that ranges from anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 per semester. And we know that there are so many different types of towns, cities, agencies, special districts, those types of things across the state. So we're happy to speak individually with you or your leadership to figure out what makes the most sense for you, but we do have those kind of standard numbers to help guide the process. And those financial contributions help to offset the cost of report printing, any transportation for students, project materials, administrative support, everything that helps make this program tick. So after we establish the partnership, we really do work with you to figure out what needs you have. And this is the first really fun part of my job, is figuring out what projects you need help with, your ideas, those types of things. And then after I have a large kind of list of projects you need help with, I interface with faculty on the ASU side of things and figure out what classes they're teaching, what they are interested in working with, those types of things, and help to match these things together. So we want to make sure that your project is being addressed by a faculty member whose expertise aligns and can really provide support for that project. And then we have this process that's really fun, where we connect the city partner to the faculty member, and you develop what's called a course plan together to make sure that the course aligns with the different research questions you have, the deliverables you're interested in, anything you can think of to make sure that everyone stays on the same page. And then once that course plan is developed, we put that into an administrative scope of work document. I call it a same page document to make sure we can all move forward. No surprises for the students, anything like that. And then we execute the scope of work, and then the projects begin. And then throughout the semester, the students have different events they participate in, like a kickoff with the community or town, whoever we're working with, where they can come visit. They have different site visits or field trips they can go on that we help to support. And then of course, a showcase event at the end of the semester where students get to present on what they found throughout the semester, and then they deliver a report in text form, and then we edit it and make it look great for you to be able to share with your leadership. So 2 other things to note as part of this process. First, we really do require a community partner to establish a liaison to serve as the main point of contact for the program manager, so me. Currently, I meet with our liaisons about every other week, and sometimes they're long meetings, sometimes they're short meetings, but we really do talk about everything from those agreements to plans for next year to challenges that arise. And having that kind of consistent communication really does ensure the success of the partnership, since we know how busy it can get and how tricky it is to kind of stay on top of these very quickly moving things. So we do require a liaison. And then also for all of the projects that you're working on, we ask you to appoint a project lead from the communities, from your group that you're working with. So if it's a project on water, we'd want somebody from the water department. If it's a project on waste, somebody from public works, something like that, or depending on however your agency or org is structured. So really we have a lead established for each project. They provide resources, contacts, anything that a student or faculty member might need to be successful. And this also ensures kind of that the projects move along smoothly. Okay, and I'm sure you'll have questions about that. I can answer at the end. So next I'll go through some of our kind of past projects to give you more of an idea of, ooh, what could I do if this process sounds interesting to me? So Apache Junction and Glendale were kind of first two programs or partnerships that we had. And I won't go into all of the projects, but I like to point out this positively. Apache Junction, when the city was interested in doing like a historic plan review and also kind of really digging into like rebranding Apache Junction for the public. And this project itself had 4 different classes involved in it. There are different types of classes, different types of students, all working on the same thing, which resulted in a couple of different kind of deliverables at the end. But I like to point that out to say that a project doesn't have to just be one-to-one for a class. A project can have multiple classes involved. And then for our City of Peoria projects, we've had a lot over the past 3 years, as you can probably tell. So again, you can sort of see we have different levels and types of classes involved, and you start to see this kind of capstone student model come out. We have so many amazing master students working here at the university, and they're really ready to kind of tackle projects on their own with guidance from a faculty member. So we have that model as well. Perhaps the students are in a class where they each pick their own project. Maybe it's a predetermined class, but we'll have them work on projects and then do an independent report at the end, which have been just as successful as the kind of fuller undergraduate classes. So we have this wide variety of ways to engage. And last, for the Town of Clarkdale projects, I like to include in this type of graphic instead of just a list, because you can see kind of the timing or linear nature of how these different projects and programs work. So a project doesn't have to be just a semester. It can be multiple semesters, and sometimes it does make more sense for a project to be a year, because that's maybe how a year staff would work on something. You can't necessarily solve all your problems in a 15-week cycle. So in Clarkdale, their downtown business revitalization plan project that had 4 classes over 2 semesters. The town still raves about this project, so I like to include it. And you can see kind of how long that one took, as well as this Smart Town project, which is the town of Clarkdale was interested in kind of reframing their town in terms of building resilience and having more kind of activity or options for their town to engage in. The public. And so this one went over 3 semesters because the students we were working with were part of a program that went on for 3 semesters. So you can see that there are different ways to do this, different types of classes. Really, if you have an idea, share it with us and then we can try to make it happen. So I'll go over some of the benefits to communities now that you have an idea of what Project Cities is, how the partnership process works, and then what different projects are. So at the end of the day, after participating and through participation, you really are getting fresh research-backed solutions to complex challenges. And this is really ensured through that connection to the multitude of ASU faculty that we have here at the university. They study everything under the sun. And so one of my favorite parts of the job is being able to connect your projects to what different faculty are researching or teaching, since we just have a plethora of resources here at the university. So you're getting that expert guidance from them. You're having a lot of additional capacity brought to your community through the student work. They're gaining a lot of those hands-on skills while you're also being able to have a semester's worth of research or peer community reviews or other types of things done that may have taken one of your staff members a year or 2 years to do, depending on what's on their plate. So we're really trying to bring that value add to your community to make sure that you're able to benefit from And then from the partnership, especially if you continue over a few years, you'll gain access to our expansive network of sustainability scientists and scholars and make a lot of different connections. There are faculty that love to work in the community. So being able to connect with them over time can also be beneficial just in the longer term. So, and here's 2 kind of quotes from different town managers and mayors that have been working with us for a while. So Tracy Holinka, who's the former town manager of the town of Clarkdale, said, "I worked with ASU Project Cities for the program for 2 years. The ability to collaborate with ASU faculty, students, and staff has been priceless for Clarkdale. With the town having limited staff, the partnerships have allowed us to maximize our resources while providing real-world experience for students. I think that really speaks to how the program can be beneficial for both a small town and a larger urban city. And from Kathy Carlett, the City of Peoria Mayor, and Jeff Tyne, the city manager, they said working students at an undergraduate, graduate, and capstone project level brings a fresh perspective and resourcefulness to complex issues. This partnership has resulted in extensive research, recommendations, and deliverables that take several key initiatives to the next level. The results provided on each project position us to serve our community with cost-effective and innovative programs in the interest of continuous improvement. The city has already begun to incorporate students' deliverables into next steps for advancing these projects. I love this quote because it really does speak to how communities do use that student work, and can be easy for students to do a project and never really see where it goes. But the point of this program is to get those actionable recommendations back into your community. So we really do pride ourselves on that connection to student work to action. For faculty, in case there are any faculty on this call, this is an exciting opportunity because you can engage with city staff that are invested in the success of a project. It can be easy for partnerships to come and go really quickly. So having a person who's there for the long haul can help really deepen the work. You can collaborate with other colleagues on transdisciplinary projects. We again remove those barriers to community work, so help you get in the door if it's been challenging for you, and then you can kind of engage with students in a new and more exciting way. And for students, in case any students came onto the call, you're really getting the experience of applying sustainability principles to real world challenges. You're getting connected to a wide network of sustainability professionals, like people on this call that want to work with you and want you to be employees in this field eventually. And then you have, again, direct engagement with those different types of stakeholders that might be more challenging to do if you haven't had an internship yet or some sort of research experience where you've been able to be out in the community. And here are 2 quotes from different faculty and students that have been engaged in this. So Greg Broberg, he self-named himself one of our biggest fans, so I decided to include a quote from him. He says, "I would encourage many individuals, both in a tenured position and then in my case, a non-tenured lecture position, to constantly seek out these things because it really makes a huge difference for students. They get this work, they want this work, they need to build these network connections. It's just an amazing connection for them, and they don't get enough of it. So they get one experience, and then they kind of get their feet wet. But they really need 3 or 4 experiences throughout their 4 years that they're here to really understand." So he's really emphasizing how that long-term partnership and sort of engaging over time is kind of at the crux of the program too, and why we do encourage communities to think about a multi-year partnership instead of maybe just a semester. So we really get to work on the projects to kind of deep in-depth work over time. And then a quote from Emily Hinkle, who is a previous PCU participant. They, which means projects, provide real-world and hands-on experience that provides a valuable link of learning academically, and then how that translates into the working world and to society at large. And having the opportunity to apply the things we learned in the classroom out there doing projects, that makes a difference. And we had amazing guest speakers, seminars, and field trips. I had the opportunity to interact with and learn from industry leaders who have done amazing work and have interesting jobs. So from the student perspective, really getting that exposure, it can be a little tricky for students in the first couple of weeks to kind of grasp on what the type of work they're doing is. But at the end, I think having a report that you're an author on, getting all that experience, it really is beneficial for their academic learning, but also future career. Okay, so kind of wrapping up the presentation soon. The outcomes for project cities in general that I like to tell different community partners, we really aim and hope to achieve increased capacity among your staff, if you're a city, your residents or town, if you're a community, whoever the stakeholders are that you impact, and any participating students. We want you to be able to get more done and be able to really engage with sustainability. We bring innovative and viable solution options for addressing a variety of complex challenges. we know every community, agency, city, or town has a very different context. And so we definitely emphasize how this is an individually curated partnership. So we try to make sure that your challenges are addressed in the way that best is to be able to be connected to the university. And then we provide summary reports detailing sustainability strategies, which Allison shared in the chat. We have them all the way back from the beginning, and they all come with a nice recommendations page up front. So in case you want to give it to your council or your leadership and be able to showcase, hey, here's what these amazing students researched and brought to the table. Let's figure out how to incorporate this. We have that at the top, as well as all of the work that they've done throughout this semester. And we have a fantastic graphic design team that makes these beautiful reports look amazing. And then at the end of the day, we really do hope for you to be able to implement policy, program, and infrastructure recommendations and improvements. We want these reports to help create changes in action. And so I talked about these two projects a little bit for this project highlight from the city of Peoria to give you kind of a more in-depth idea of what the project might look like. Peoria was interested in what the future of housing and affordable housing might look like for them. So they were paired with two different classes in the ASU School of Geographical Sciences and Urban Planning. And I had the pleasure of reading this report and helping edit it as it's being printed right now. This report is phenomenal. I was completely blown away. It's almost like it was written by professional planners. And they really gave an in-depth analysis of how different other peer communities are mitigating challenges of affordable housing and how they could apply those different principles to Peoria, as well as provided a whole different solution on leveraging accessory dwelling units. And the faculty that guided this project are phenomenal and really did help provide a professional report at the end of the process that the city of Peoria was excited to have. And this project also won the Best Student Planning Project by the American Planning Association Arizona chapter. So this work for students can really go beyond even the classroom and can help them get awards or different kind of access to opportunities. And then for Clarkdale, kind of a smaller rural community, this is that project that got worked on by 4 classes across 2 semesters. And I included this one because the town still talks about this to this day, even though I wasn't here when this project was facilitated, they still reference it. They really love kind of the interdisciplinary nature of the program. It was their first project we did with us, so it really opened the door to a wide variety of other engagement opportunities. And I went on a site visit a few weeks ago, and some of the things from the report are being taken into consideration as they're planning for zoning and retail use and those types of things. So exciting to see kind of the next stages of that. We do outreach and promotion as part of our work as well. So we try to share what we're doing on different social media through our ASU news networks. And then also on your side of things, if you're interested ever in doing press releases or collaborating on showcasing student work, we would love to collaborate on that. So we always try to get the word out. So next steps, if you are interested in potentially collaborating with us, first we recommend you reach out to the Project Cities team. So me, and I'll have my email at the end to discuss your ideas or questions or anything else that has come on. And looks like we have a little over half an hour now to talk if people have individual questions. And then we highly suggest coordinating a meeting for your city manager and or mayor and council or equivalent leadership to discuss this opportunity with us. We're happy to answer any of the questions that they have, talk through things, and we know that you ultimately need their support to do these types of partnerships. So getting everybody at the table sooner rather than later is usually helpful. And then if it seems like the partnership is a go and can move forward, we like to have a letter of support from leadership to kind of include with our agreements as we move forward. Follow us on social media. And that concludes our presentation. So again, I'm Julia, the program manager. My ASU email is there as well as our Project Cities email. So let us know if you'd like to work together. Thank you. Okay, and I'll stop my share so we can open it up to questions. You can put them in the chat or ask them out loud. I'm here to chat about whatever you're interested in.
Hi, Julia. This is Phil McNeely with Air Quality.
Oh, I emailed you earlier this week. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I was on vacation. I just decided to jump in real quick at the last minute. But has the county ever partnered with you guys? Any other department, or have you anyone expressed interest?
Good question. And Anne, feel free to jump in whenever. Thus far, the 4 partners I shared, so the City of Apache Junction, City of Glendale, Town of Clarkdale, and City of Peoria have been our main partners. However, I have been talking to other universities that are part of our same network, and they really do encourage working with the county because you kind of have a wider variety of projects you can work on. So to date, we haven't worked with the county, but I would be very interested in discussing further, kind of seeing how we might facilitate that type of partnership with our Arizona context.
Yeah, because the county, we have so many different departments and we're huge.
Yes.
We're like 14,000 employees, and I was just looking at how long it goes. I could see Air Quality having one project, but if you wanted multiple projects, it seems like it'd be maybe we have to connect you with our HR group or something so you can actually have different departments. We have lots of.
Yeah, we can work with a wide variety, even within the 2 kind of communities that we work with now. Like in Peoria, we work across water, public works, I think a couple others. And in Clarkdale, we've worked with Parks and Rec. I think in Peoria, we do like library services even. In Clarkdale, we work with HR. So really, it depends on what your needs are. And that's why I think having that liaison established initially is so important, because you need a person who can kind of corral everyone to figure out, okay, what do we need help with? And then what makes the most sense to use as a project. So that first year of a partnership, I think, is a lot of planning and iterating together to make sure that we're using kind of both sides of the partnership's resources together successfully.
Well, and one thing to add to that too, Phil, is what's nice is then you have the ability, if you're using multiple departments, to be able to actually use smaller bits of funding from different departments. So yeah, so in the case of like Peoria, we deal with transportation, communications department, water, and so forth. And so you can actually, pull from various grants or different pots of money in order to kind of pool that money together. So that provides a little more flexibility, I think, for some communities.
Yeah, this is Chris with the county as well, with facilities management department. And I agree. And yeah, there are smaller projects, I think, across the departments throughout the county. So maybe Phil, I'll follow up with you in an email after this and yeah, talk about pooling our efforts if we were going to try to do something in this direction.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think, again, every partner is so unique and every relationship is really curated. So I think having those individual calls with us make a lot of sense, because you can really go into detail about like what's the current state of how your departments work, those types of things. So we can start to think about what a partnership might look like. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? Questions or comments if you have ideas?
Yeah, I was going to say, if people are interested in even putting forth some project ideas just for discussion purposes, we're happy to talk through those as well. And nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
So Julia, hi, it's Doris. In your model, I know you talk about community partners, and it sounds like it's typically one municipality or whatever, or several departments can come together. Has there ever been any consideration to maybe 2 or 3 cities coming together as, a partner, like, and you can appreciate this discussion, but is there any consideration for that? Like, is it easier if the MOU is just with one city or county or what have you, or can we work together and come up with a project?
Great question. I'm going to pass it off to Anne before I talk, since she's been around longer than I have in this work. I have an answer that I think makes sense, but I want to hear from you first, Anne.
Yeah, you know what, we're Maverick, we're paving the way. So I we can work with one community through an IGA, but I do think that there's tremendous opportunity as far as working with multiple communities, either on a regional type of project or, a project, that has a particular need. I think we would need a little more time as far as prepping an agreement that would meet the needs of all the communities involved. So, giving it a semester for planning before actually implementation or kicking off, I think would be wise. But I think it's a great opportunity, and as well as our sustainability, practitioners participate with each other, I think that'd be a great opportunity to explore.
Yeah, I agree. I second what Anne says, where it's doable. It will just take more time, knowing that we all work in different systems and have different wording for the way that our different councils like things to
Yeah.
be. So it would take a little bit more time to set it up, but just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean that it can't be, where Mavericks, as Anne said. So I think that's a great idea, especially because in our Arizona context, we, whether you're in the Phoenix Metro or the Verde Valley or kind of the Southern Arizona or Northern Arizona regions, a lot of the times the communities are all feeling the same different sustainability impacts and challenges. So if there's a way to kind of galvanize support around one specific topic where different cities can contribute, I think that makes a lot of sense and speaks to just the very interconnected nature of how sustainability typically works within our context.
Yeah, more of a regional approach.
Yeah, definitely. Good question. And Dinesh says she loves the idea. So that's good. You already have Abigail on board.
Yeah.
And can you think of any questions other communities have asked you in the past, or things that could be good to bring up now that maybe I didn't include in the presentation?
I do think I see Monica Rabb on here, who was formerly with Glendale at the time that we had our partnership with them, and she's actually now with the city of Goodyear. So it's great to see her on the call. I think this is a great opportunity to expose students to the public sector and the opportunities of working with a community, because what we have found is that a lot of them have their eye on the private sector, but until they get that direct exposure of working with the community and understanding the challenges associated with a city or a town or an agency, they don't truly understand or appreciate what a great experience it is and all the hard work that you're doing. So I think it's a great way to promote public sector work in a variety of ways, but also to get a feel for the different candidates that can be pathways to your agency. We have had a few instances where students have gotten a job or internship offers right after, or closely thereafter to their presentations. And so that's been really exciting for us as well as for them. And we're hoping that we can certainly brand Project Cities more broadly so that more students understand what that is in advance, so they can actually sign up for classes that have Project Cities affiliations and be able to take advantage of that. I would say also on the point of funding, don't let that be a barrier, because I think there are creative ways to work this within your community. Certainly we have our guidelines and we want to cover our costs, but we also want to make sure that we open it up to as many fruitful partnerships. As Julie had said, we don't necessarily want this to be a one-off type experience. This is really about deepening, I think, our relationships and partnerships with communities, with the counties and agencies, but also putting meaningful work out there, in a sense, and having students and faculty be a part of that, really putting them to work to help you. So if there's any way that we can, work with you on that, let us know. And also, if you think that there's a grant opportunity associated with using Project Cities, so if you'd like to apply for a grant and use that as a leveraging mechanism, we can certainly help you with that. Julie's got some great experience in working on grants and achieving success with those. And so that's something that we could certainly help you with as well.
Great, thank you, Anne. That's good context.
Sure. Well, and the other thing is too, if you have any areas that are, you know, experiencing development, a good example is like down in Mesa with their downtown transformation. I know ASU already has a lot of activity going on, but if you think that there is an interesting opportunity for, you know, having certain classes participate in that development process or research certain things, designs or you know, activities, community engagement, you know, leveraging businesses, whatever it is, we could certainly, you know, prep that so that it could be, you know, helpful with project cities. You never know. We don't know until we try. And so it's a great opportunity to be able to explore the different options.
Great. Okay, any kind of final questions as we start to wrap up the call?
Well, I can give you a little bit of feedback since, and this is Monica Rapp from Goodyear, and I can tell you that Goodyear, we're building a case, and I just introduced this project, well, this opportunity to our staff, and I don't think it's going to happen this year, but we're starting to look at it for next year. One thing I can say is that one of the projects that we used, or one of the projects that they did for Glendale, I pulled up and gave it to staff and said, you know, here's the information that you need for, it was actually for tanks. And, you know, I just found that a lot of people don't have the information. So it's just really good stuff that is available to anyone. So that is a very good thing about your project. Doris had mentioned collaborative, and I had to step away for a minute. So if I missed this, I apologize. But one of the things that every single city is having a terrible time with, and any kind of government and entity, I believe, is having a terrible time attracting students to go into like water careers, any of these kind of municipal sector jobs. And that would be an excellent thing that would go across every municipality. So I don't know if you were looking at that. The one thing that I can add to the people who are in the audience is, you know, these are college students and they have jobs. So it's a little bit of herding cats. It really was, but I felt like we were helpful to these students to teach them this is the real world. And if you say you're going to be somewhere, you need to be there. And just, I felt like we brought a lot of students quite a ways in what it means to manage a project. And so I think that that is something that people need to know, but that the work that they did and the product that is online now is just excellent. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. Yes, and they are students that we're working with, and there's such a wide variety that I think it really just depends per semester, but they are definitely learning and growing throughout the process. And I found out the other day that years ago, so Erin Rugland, one of my friends and colleagues, was on the call. Turns out we took a policy class together at ASU that was kind of pre-project cities. And I remember as a student being like, why does my professor want me to talk to this real person? Like, let me just take a test. But towards the end of the semester, I was like, oh, I'm presenting. This is real. Like, this actually is going to help impact people's lives. And so I think that that learning experience is so powerful. And that's why I love that quote I included from Dr. Greg Broberg about how giving these experiences to students multiple times or having those deeper partnerships is so valuable, because once you get that kind of first exposure to working with a community partner, it's exponentially easier. And then I think that pathway to working in government or other public sector careers become so clear because you really kind of have felt that process, see the impacts, those types of things.
Yeah, and I also think from a professional skills standpoint, especially now with the pandemic and coming out of it, hopefully, students haven't had that opportunity to be in person and they've kind of been behind the Zoom screen. We've managed to work well, I think, within the confines of COVID, which has been amazing. But once we are back in person, the energy that the students get and provide to the projects and the cities, I think, is really amazing. Mana can probably attest to that based on probably some of the comments and conversations she's had with students. But it is amazing. They are learning constantly. And you're right, it is a lot of herding cats. And that's what Julia does, is keeping everybody organized. This is a curated relationship, so there's a lot of responsibility put on her to make sure everybody's organized and that the students get the opportunities of engaging at certain points with the city staff, that communication is well streamlined, any issues are taken care of, hopefully at the time, and that the reports come out to be very helpful for the communities. So yeah, it's I think an awesome experience for both the city and for the students as well. And for us, we love it. And one of the things that we'll be looking at are some of the longer term impacts of those reports and the work that previous students have done. That's one thing that we need to research more, is the information that has been presented in the reports by the students. What is being acted on and what impacts has it had on a local level? We do know in all the different communities, anecdotally, that this information is helpful in changing policy and practice and programs. We just need to know where and how, so that we can put those stories and that documentation with the information that we provide about the program. And then also that might be helpful for you as communities to justify being able to use students and faculty to help you with these different types of projects.
Great, thank you, Anne. So we'll stick around for a couple more minutes in case anybody wants to hang out and ask more kind of individualized questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for everyone for coming today, spending either your lunch hour or after your lunch hour with us. I know a lot of folks were on spring break this week, so we will share the recording around. And again, reach out if you want to learn more. Thank you.